Hello everybody, welcome to our continuing coverage of the Halo 4 War Games maps. This time we're going to be taking a look at a very competitive map, Haven. This is actually one of the first maps that we saw when 343 first announced the War Games side of Halo 4. And it's a crowd favorite for a lot of people. And I have Nak3d Eli here with me today to help walk through the map with spawns, with strategies, and all that good stuff. So welcome back, Nak3d Eli.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for having me. I was about to say sup, but I didn't want to steal that from Euphorix, so he can keep it.
Okay. We need to get him on, actually.
He's a good guy. You should get him on one of these days.
Well, he's been on before. We just need to get him on again.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. Must have missed that one.
It's all right. It was our most downloaded episode. Didn't you know that?
Ever? Holy crap.
From the time I've been on the show, yes. We had a Halo Council show, and it's still the most downloaded show that we've had.
Nice.
That's
sick.
It peaked 50,000 hits.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, I know, right? So hopefully, it's yet to be seen whether or not Halo's actually in the MLG circuit, but if it is, then they'll probably get a lot more press again, too.
For sure.
So let's talk about Haven, shall we?
Let's do it.
This one is a very competitive map, loved by a lot of competitive players, because it is very symmetrical to start off with, and there are lots of little interesting jumps and kind of shooty holes and hiding holes that make it really, I guess, appealing to that kind of player.
For sure.
So, is there anything that kind of really sticks out that makes this map just the map to play competitively? Because that's what it seems like when you talk to a lot of people, is that Haven is just kind of that perfect map for at least the kind of the Team Slayer aspect to competitive Halo.
Well, it's my favorite map in the game by far, as it is for a lot of people. You know that everyone voted for Haven so much that they had to limit the amount of times it showed up in matchmaking because they did not want people to get sick of Haven too fast. Kind of like one of those popular songs on the radio. Like, we need to tone this down a bit before everyone starts hating it.
You're talking about like Boulevard of Broken Dreams?
Yes, that
kind
level
of that style.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, I don't know, I've played a lot on Haven, and I think what really makes it special is the fact that it can do so much for so many different kinds of players. It's that map that I think they really strive to make that fits every single armor ability, tactical package, support upgrade. It really just does the best job of balancing the game, in my opinion. Part of that is what you said was the symmetry of the map. So since it is symmetrical, that takes out a lot of variables that developers try to balance if they're making an asymmetrical map, right? It's like, well, if they have the lower ground, they should get a sniper. And that might work for some loadouts, but that will not work for other loadouts. So Haven is symmetrical, it's balanced, it's beautiful. Just looking at the map, it's lighting is really important to the user experience. And the only problem I'd say with it is that it's hard to have callouts because it's so symmetrical and so even that people get confused about like where to call out the enemy. But that's just all the tryhards having trouble with that. So yeah, it's good for Slayer. It's good for Objective. Everything that I played on it is just a lot of fun.
I mean, that goes to say during the pre-show you got the two sides confused on which one was blue and red.
Yes, I did.
So I mean, it's all right though. I haven't played too much into the competitive yet because I'm still waiting for the MLG playlist to come out, if and when it comes out. But
your competitive on that map is fun. Like, I've played a few games with pros. One of the first competitive games I played on it was against Goofy right after he won the national championship. We actually beat him, SK, and Twilight by like 15 points or something. It was ridiculous. And then I played other games on it where it's a really, really close call. And no matter what settings are on it, it just always seems to be a really fun, fast-paced game type.
That's good. When we get to the appropriate segment, we'll have to branch off into some of the MLG specific stuff that's been worked on. I'm assuming you're kind of up to date on that kind of stuff.
Kind of. I know a little bit about the changes they've made, but I honestly am not a huge fan of the V1 settings, so I haven't followed it as close as I should.
I think they've come out with a V2.
Already?
Maybe not officially. I think I heard some talk about a V2 though.
I mean, V2 comes after V1, so.
That is true. So let's do some initial spawns and loadouts. So this one is primarily a Slayer map. There are some other game types that go along with this, but primarily for Slayer. So the blue team actually spawns out in the big open area that faces the clouds. The beautiful vista actually out there. It's an elegant map. I don't necessarily know if beautiful is the right word because it's kind of a singular kind of grayscale color, but it's definitely elegant.
I guess I see that.
So I would use that term over beautiful. But anyways, blue team spawns over there, and then red team spawns over in the closed side of things. And you usually have two different groups of people. If you have people that just kind of play recreationally, most of the time you're going to see them go straight up to the middle and try to shoot to the other side. And that happens a lot in SWAT, where you see people peeking over the edges and try to get the first shot off. And then you have your more experienced players that sometimes will go up the middle, or sometimes they'll be smart and go down into the sides and try to flank and get some of the more powerful weapons like the scatter shot and the sticky detonator. So those are the two primary spawn points. The initial weapon loadouts is bottom mid. You have the scatter shot over on, and we'll designate these now, I guess. So over on the right side from open, that is red side.
That's red ramp where the sticky dead is. Yeah.
Yeah. So over on the red side, on the red street, the sticky det pops up in front of that little pillar on the right hand side, or the red side. On the left side, or blue side, we have the needler that spawns over there. We also have the grenades on this map. There are two sets of plasma grenades, one on the red side, one on the blue side. And if you take the middle paths that go outwards, and then you have the little jump up area, it's right in front of that on either side for the plasmas. And then you have your frag grenades that are underneath closed. And then...
And open.
Is it same for open?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, same for open.
So it's like a plus sign, right? And the plasmas are on the colored sides, and the frags are on the open closed side down the middle. I wanted to clarify that the reason we're designating one side red and one side blue, it's strictly just because that's what the MLG pros decided to do when they went to Dallas, since there was no easy way to delineate the maps. And now in their V1 settings, they actually have blue and red colors on those sides. So it makes it a little easier to see the colors.
Yeah, I think they put the color orbs in the ceiling.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet looking. I prefer any map that has very clear blue and red sides. It just makes calling out so much easier. Unlike Countdown and Reach, dude, I play the game so much and I still don't know which side is which when I'm running around on that map.
Yeah, isn't the right side blue, and then, well, if you're facing, I guess if you're facing from the launch
I just know
pad, the left side's
red goes to Rocket's left. That's all I know.
Okay.
I figured
there you go,
out
red to
there.
Rocket's left.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I didn't actually know this, but I'm looking around in Forge right now. There's actually, on the blue side, there's all the walls are pane of glass on the top level.
Yes, that's why some people have different callouts. They'll call the pane of glass side open side, and then they'll call the other side without the glass closed side. So you'd replace red with closed, I believe, and blue with open. But then that confuses everyone because people think of open ramp as like that elegant vista viewpoint, and closed ramp as the other frag point. So where Mohawk is. So it's confusing terminology. I think most people now are sticking with red and blue callouts.
All right. So those are all the initial spawns, right? Can't think of. I think
for default, yeah.
Yeah. There's lots of random drops everywhere. Most of the drops are the needlers, scatter shot, and sticky detonator. There are a couple that do binary rifles and incineration cannons. There are some pulse grenades on here as well, and I believe that's all the random weapon drops that there are.
I think that's right.
And they're scattered pretty much throughout the entirety of the map. The binary rifle and the incineration cannon, I'm pretty sure spawn on the top ramps of blue and red on the sides.
I know
I know
that
the
the
binary rifles
binary
do.
rifle spawns at the top of blue ramp. I don't know about red ramp. And I know that the incineration cannon spawns at the bottom of blue drop. I don't know about red drop. I would assume it's symmetrical and it's just like flipping a coin and the game decides which side it wants to put it on, but those are the general positions of it.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
there's. I'm flying through right now. I'm trying to figure out. I found the binary rifles. Those are definitely the ones up there. There's. I found about 8 or 12 different random drops that definitely have the needler, sticky det, and scatter shot as any one of the 3 that can be picked. So those are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to some game type stuff. This map is definitely Slayer heavy. It was in Team Snipers for a bit, I think, and it's in SWAT and Team Slayer right now. There is also Flood. There is Regicide and Team Regicide, and then there is Oddball. So those are
pretty much. I think this map plays every game type except for CTF. Is that right?
Well, we haven't seen Extraction yet, and I don't think it really works well for Dominion.
That's a good point.
I mean, where would the Dominion bases be on here?
Good point. No. That's exactly what I was asking. Because I'm thinking 4v4, but that's 6v6. You're right. It does not work for 6v6 and up game types.
I will say though, when we were actually doing our refs meeting for the Fight Like a Girl tournament, we actually had all of the referees in for a game afterwards, just kind of messing around, and we did Extraction on this map, and it was actually a lot of fun.
Really?
Yeah, it was surprisingly very competitive. Granted, the teams were kind of uneven. We had 5 on one team, 3 on another team, and 2 on another team. So
what?
we were just messing around. We were having a good time, and it actually flowed really well because one of the hills was in the middle. It was where you would expect that they would be. One that's in the dead center, one that's on the ramps on either side. One that's on the closed side in the back there, and then one that's on the open side. And it actually, with the 3 teams that we had, the spawning seemed okay. The approach vectors to get there, I mean, there's so many different ways you can get to different parts of the map. I want to say just about every point that you can get to has at least 3 ways to get in, if not more.
That's pretty dope. I'll have to give it a shot one of these days.
I'm waiting to see when they put the Extraction game type actually into the matchmaking playlist, what maps they're going to put in here. Because it also depends on the size of the parties that are in here. Granted, we had only 10 people, and we had some that were dropping in and out, so we didn't have necessarily a correct team lineup. But in terms of just having the flow of it, for multi-team, I think this would be good. I'm not sure about one team versus another team for Extraction on this, but I think multi-team would be interesting. And that's another thing I'm really ready to see is multi-team on the matchmaking playlist. I
just can't wait for double team. Always my favorite playlist, bro. Oh, I'm so excited.
There's a lot more playlists that they need to put out that they haven't put out yet.
That's true.
So we'll have a matchmaking update probably here after the Infinity Challenge comes to a wrap up, and then they'll start rotating in new playlists, I think. And then the title update is coming up soon too.
I hope it has. They didn't announce ranks in the last bulletin though. I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
I guess that means they're putting it off at least another month or 2.
We'll have to see what happens. Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so for Slayer, let's start off with Slayer. You've spawned on either side. It's probably a good idea to have a couple people go up the main ramps just to see what the other team's doing, and just note where you can back off and withdraw from fire if you get really low shields or you think you're being overpowered, and then have a couple other people go for the power weapons. Now, at least when I've played, I don't see this too much, but blues usually are able to grab the scatter shot. I don't know if that's just with the teams I've encountered not going down and running it, but I think red team should have a little bit more advantage of getting the scatter shot.
Which team spawns on open? Is that red?
Open is blue.
Okay, so they should definitely get the scatter shot because all they have to do is drop down and they're on the scatter shot, right?
But whenever I've played red and gone down, I usually run up the middle and then drop, and now I'm able to grab the scatter shot. Granted, that's probably not the best way to do it, but whenever I go up and not grab the scatter shot, the team I normally see grab it is red team.
Is the
I don't
scatter
exactly know
shot
why.
on the closed side of the bottom middle structure?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that could be why then. I thought it was on the other side. So then maybe
But
red team just has the advantage in that case.
I think they have the advantage because they can just nade it better.
Right, right. You nade it better. You can watch the sides as you're getting it, and then you don't have to go around a corner to pick it up. You pick it up watching the corners, and then you can use it if someone comes at you. And that's actually a problem I have with a lot of maps like Exile. It is not an even, like, blue team is closer to the Banshee. They have a Gauss, and they can also get to the tank almost as fast with like a Mongoose. So this is why it's really important to have balance of, at least at the very start, the time that it takes to get to these power weapons, right? Or else you'll give one team a complete advantage off the start. And so we're going to talk about the sticky det. I don't know about you, but I noticed that the team that normally spawns on closed ramp just sends one or two guys through blue street, or red street rather, and they're already on the sticky det, right? And they can just nade around the corner, and I think red team normally will get the sticky det off the start, which is the most powerful weapon on the map.
I think the main reason for that is just for the blue side, you either have to run underneath and take essentially a longer route.
If you go underneath, you're not getting that power weapon. That's just a fact.
Yeah, the only one you can really be able to get is the scatter shot. But with the red team, you can run up and dash out to the side streets a lot more quickly than the blue team does. The blue team's a lot more exposed if they go up, or if the red team...
Huge. In fact, one of the best strategies if you're red, spawning on a closed ramp, as soon as you spawn, just chuck all of your grenades over towards sticky det side of top mid, and you can clean up at least 2 to 3 kills and weaken the other guy. You'll get the sticky det every time if your grenades were on point. The reason this is only default spawning is because of this. What I'm trying to say is that it's not balanced, right? And so MLG actually switched the spawns so that one team spawns on red ramp and one team spawns on blue ramp, and then both teams are able to access the power weapons in the middle symmetrically.
Yeah, it's a lot more balanced that way.
It's way more balanced. Basically, if you're open ramp spawn, you're going to get screwed off the start. If you're playing like good team versus good team, people know what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Just how the map's laid out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sirree. Doesn't mean that you can't come back and win or destroy them. It just means you're gonna have a little bit of a tougher time getting the power weapons off the start and staying alive.
Yeah, you have to strategize a little bit more on your starting where you want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to send probably a couple more people to control an area and get out of your initial spawn that just kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or just send everyone to sticky det, basically, or one person to scatter shot, maybe. Most people don't even go for scatter shot these days. I don't know if you've noticed, like it's so inconsistent and it has a shorter range than the bolt shot. Most people just walk right by it.
Yeah, I usually go for the scatter shot if no one else is going for it.
And usually get it, right?
Yeah, which is a strange thing because, I mean, there's sometimes when I have other people going for it that they pick it up. I find it easier, like I was saying before, that if I spawn red, it's easier for me to grab because I can just either run down the ramp to begin with and chuck a few nades underneath the bottom middle pillars there, or I can run over top, and by the time I get to where the drop down is, there's not enough time for the other team to put shots on me, and I can just drop down, throw a couple nades, and grab the scatter shot. And what you were saying with throwing the grenades from closed open side, when I was running with the Grenadier mod, where you get an extra grenade, I would get first strike almost every time.
Nice. Yeah.
Granted, I'm running fast track now, so I pop shields, but it's still enough to get a good lead when you're off like that. And I think it seems a lot easier to throw grenades from closed to open on the initial spawn than it is from open to close in terms of getting kills.
Yes, that's because open ramp is like closed ramp has glass covering up 2/3 of it, whereas open ramp does not. If that makes sense.
And you have a little mohawk there to kind of help
That's true too.
deflect grenades as well.
Right. Well, top mid has like that little middle structure, but it's really easy to get nades around that, whereas the mohawk takes up the majority of the space on that bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So the movement of the spawns for the competitive side, I think, was probably a really smart idea.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just do it that way, but you know, who knows?
Well, that's a good thing we have Forge.
Yeah, true that.
Okay, let's move on to Oddball. The Oddball spawns bottom mid, and it's a big rush to get it. You'll have grenades flying everywhere. You probably have 2 or 3 people off the start that die from grenades.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I guess, an important fact that people may not know is that I think the ball will stay in the ball spawn point until someone picks it up, regardless of throwing grenades. If it's in that ball spawn plate, it won't be deflected by grenades.
Is that the case? I didn't realize that. That's interesting.
I think so. I have to double check, but I think that's the case. If it's in a bomb plant or a bomb plate area, it doesn't move until someone's picked it up.
Cool.
Other than that, the ball will be affected by grenades galore.
Yes, the thing likes to bounce around, and then if you pick it up, you can chuck it across the map. So like if you're getting attacked from bottom open, you can chuck it up to like blue ramp, and one of your teammates can pick it up. It's sick.
It's disgusting.
Exactly. Yeah, I've seen some really sick plays. Like I think I was chasing a guy bottom mohawk, and you know how there's the lifts on either side. He just like looks to one of those lifts and just chucks it over to his teammate, and I kill him, and that guy, boom, he's already gone. He's up the ramp. He's top mid. I was like, Jesus! Like if you have a really good team, they can just chuck it, like basically have you chasing them in circles as they throw it from one guy to the next around the map. You got to be careful. Yeah.
Nice.
And go for the ball. Don't just try to like get kills because it's instant respawn. Killing does not have a huge impact in this game. It's more about intelligence and throwing the ball.
And a lot of it's positioning too, because there's going to be times where I see a lot of people do this just because they're inexperienced, but they'll bunch up around the ball carrier, or be in and really close to it, to where if someone gets a grenade on you, they'll kill one of your guys, maybe the ball carrier, and then kind of pick up the other ones.
I mean, that's the normal, like traditional strategy, right? Is like hold down an area of the map and have all of your teammates position around you, shooting everyone coming at you. But if the ball guy is shooting, right, exactly. But if the ball guy is not shooting because he has a ball in his hand, then it's always going to be a 5v4, and you're really likely to get cleaned up in situations like that. But at the same time, people get greedy on the attacking team, right? They think they have the advantage, they push right in, they get killed, and for every time they get killed, that hugely weakens their attack and is more likely to leave you with the ball. So that can definitely work too. That's the other legitimate strategy. And
the other thing just to remember for the oddball now is that you can pass it. And by pass it, you can really pass it. So that's kind of another dynamic, which is really interesting for this map specifically, just because there's at least down the street, you can throw down the street. You can throw across from open to close if needed. You can throw across the middle from side to side. Yep. And there's a lot of different.
Designed so well for so many different game types. It's very impressive.
Yeah, and another thing that I don't know how many people know this, but this also works for grenades too. Is for each of the streets on the upper side, there's the little windows up at the top that you can throw the ball into or throw grenades into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can jetpack up into those too.
Yeah, those are really, I think, important things to really point out for people, is that those things do exist, and they can affect an outcome of a game if you know how to exploit those areas. And I've definitely got a few grenades kills that way from people not expecting to come through from the top.
Definitely, that's true. Or just ambushing with jetpack. People really do not expect you to just pop up in the middle of the street for no apparent reason.
Yeah, once you're able to really figure out where all the holes are in all the textures of this map, then it becomes a not a hugely different game, but there's significant advantages that you gain from just knowing how the map can actually work and all the stuff that you can use to your advantage.
Yeah, there's actually one funny thing that I did recently that people were like, "You can throw the ball, you moron." Because you know how in previous games, if you have the ball and they're chasing you and you're like the last guy in an area, you want to jump off so they don't get the ball in an area that they can hold down.
Yep.
I was playing it in Halo 4 and I jump off with the ball and my teammate's like, "You're an idiot. Why didn't you just throw it? You didn't have to do that. This is Halo 4, bro." I was like, "Dude, I never thought about that." So you can literally throw the ball away in this game, which is cool.
Yeah. So that's. I think we're gonna have another show that talks about all the nuances in the new game types too. We haven't quite done that one yet, but it is coming.
There's a lot to go over.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about SWAT? It's pretty similar to Slayer. Granted, there are a few key differences.
SWAT does have some key differences. No one goes bottom mid in SWAT. SWAT is a pure top game. The power positions are two places, either closed ramp, watching the streets, where you can poke out and you can actually use the glass. There's a guy I watch who's amazing at SWAT. His name's Bois. And it's like, "What's up, kids? Your friendly neighborhood Bois here." And he showed his favorite spot on Haven, or in Halo 4, period, is sitting on closed ramp and looking through the two glass panels to his side where you can see enemies coming down the streets and they can't see you. So when you see an enemy coming, you just jump up, pop them in the head, drop back down, and you can literally just sit there all game and get a perfection unless they're smart enough to like go under you or jump right before you jump up to shoot them and they miss a shot. So that's
because of the sun reflecting off the stuff, I guess, isn't it? The textures.
Yeah, it's really hard to see through the glass from the one side, but you can see through it from the ramp. And then the other power position is top mid in either the landings or the other platforms. You can see the spawn at closed, at blue ramp, and at red ramp, and they will not spawn. No, I take it back. They will spawn open ramp sometimes, and if you have a headset on, you can hear that spawn, and you can just look down and pop them. But yeah, you pretty much can see all around the map. And that's how people get Killionaires, is just sitting top mid on one of those platforms.
Yeah, there's certain strategic value, I think, to those landing areas too, because one, you can camp there, and two, you can jetpack to a lot of different places from those.
Yep.
If you're using
jetpack SWAT.
Well, okay, yeah. As a general note, you can jetpack to a lot of different places.
Yeah, jetpack's huge on Haven, but yeah, that's how SWAT works. People just running up the ramps, the streets, and top mid, and whoever's the fastest to shoot and know where they're spawning is gonna win.
I'll use the bottom sometimes to flank if I have stupid teammates that are just kind of running and getting shot off. I'll use the bottom to kind of flank around sometimes and move without the other team knowing exactly where I am.
Yeah, it could work but that requires the rest of your team to be distracting top mid, right? Because they don't see you top mid.
If they're running and being stupid, yeah, they're pretty much distracting enough anyways.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a self-interest point right there.
Yeah. Let's see. We talked about Flood a little bit. The humans spawn on closed side, and then the infected. Well,
is that right?
Actually, no. There's a new rendition of it out.
Variety of points. Yeah, humans spawn all over like the streets and the ramps, I thought.
Yeah, I take that back. So the infected spawn on the open side, and then the humans spawn either on the either in the closed area. I think there's a few spawn points on the street, just me looking around. Then on the either side on blue and red ramp. So those are the main spawns for the humans, and then the infected or the flood are down on the open side. I see a lot of people that just kind of camp in the closed area. It's a pretty good defending position. What else? Other places have you seen?
I've seen people basically just hold down either closed or one of the side ramps. If people go top mid, which I have seen, they get destroyed. Yeah. It's not even funny, because then you're just opening yourself up to every single angle possible on the map, plus thruster pack lifting flood zombies.
Oh my goodness!
Not what you want to fight. So
those are scary because they just fly out of nowhere, and you have no idea where they're coming from sometimes.
Yep. It's just really hard to play Haven Flood. There's no one position where you can go that's really powerful, and so you usually get cleaned up pretty fast.
Yeah. And then Regicide was our last one. They have regular Regicide and Team Regicide on this one. I see a lot of fighting going down bottom mid for Regicide, for individual and team.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, like around the bottom open ramp area, a lot of people tend to wind up.
And just in general, I see. I don't know if it's just it's exactly the opposite of SWAT, where SWAT's kind of a top only game. It seems like Regicide's mostly a bottom game. There are quite a few times where you're going up top, but I always see the king kind of fall down to the middle sometimes. I'm not exactly sure why that is.
I think it's probably psychological. Like he feels safer down there, and there's more walls and more cover. Because if you're up in the top, then like in SWAT, you want to have the most angles at all times, and that's what the top offers you. But as king, you want to limit the amount of angles that everyone is going to have on you. The problem with this is that there are places on top where you should be, like the streets or closed ramp, moving back and forth, not staying still because you'll get grenaded, obviously. And that gives you a lot of options. Like if you're getting killed, you can drop down, you can escape. You have a number of directions where you can move. If you're bottom, you're king, you're going to get cleaned up from, a number of directions. It's going to be a short-lived life as king. So I think it's more like a psychological feeling safe effect rather than actually being safe.
All right. Same thing for team Regicide is a little bit different from the individual. I think the individual one's a lot more balanced in terms of where they are on the map. I see a lot more top utilization compared to the team one. The team one seems to be the one that dominates the bottom area.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the FFA, because I see the FFA go under all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess just the games most of the time I play, and I see the team end up on the bottom more than the FFA does. Because I get king maybe a third of the time to a half the time when I'm playing on Team Regicide, and I'll go for King Joust all the time because they'll just kind of hang near the low areas, and I'll get probably about 4 or 5 King Jousts throughout a game, just because
I always see kings pushing up into the streets or sitting on ramps and having their team defending them, almost similar to Oddball is how I think Team Regicide is played on Haven. But for me, FFA Regicide, half the games it's just people rushing bottom mid, getting killed over and over and over and over. But there's people there, so you're gonna keep going there and getting killed over and over and over and over. And that's like every other game I play on that map.
That people is where grenades come in really handy.
Yes.
Yeah. But so in terms of just recommendations of where I guess the best spots for King are, you said the streets are pretty good ones. And I could see that, especially for FFA, you kind of want to stick to the top. There's going to be times where you're just going to get cornered, and at that point, you're kind of at the mercy of who kills you first.
Yes. But let's say you're bottom street, and you're getting pinched by 2 guys. Where are you going to go? Right? You're basically stuck, unless you jetpack up through that drop. But if you're up top, and you have 2 guys shooting you, you can drop down, and then you can go either left, you can go right, you can take the lift. You just have a lot more options, and that doubles at least your chances of survival.
Yeah, and then it leaves the other guy in the dust and possibly be able to be picked up by other people.
Yes, exactly.
So let's talk about the competitive stuff. Of course, we've been hinting at some of the MLG specific game type stuff that they've come up with, and they've moved the spawns around. And for those who aren't aware of the competitive side of stuff, there's a significant difference between competitive Halo style and casual Halo style. One of them being callouts. So you want to run through the callouts real quick of what you know that they've established to be so far?
Oh, dude, there's a lot of callouts, but yeah, I'll do my best.
And or do you want to save this for the video portion? We could do this in the video portion later.
Are we doing a video portion? I was not even aware. I mean, I can just run through them really fast if you want. People can sort of visualize. I'll start on
let's start
one of
open
the sides.
side. Yeah, let's start open side.
Yeah. All right. So you have the open ramp where you spawn. Under that is the ditch. You have some people call it the red wing and the blue wing. If they're closer to red side or blue side on the open ramp. Bottom mid, And then if you want to move, let's say, towards red side, then down there people call that red tunnel, and above that is red bridge, right? That's where the broken bridge is. Red ramp is obvious on the side. Then you walk through red street. There's the red lift that takes you to red landing. And then that's pretty much it for the colored sides. It's the same exact as on the blue. Then when we get to closed, you have closed ramp, Mohawk in front of it on top mid. Bottom Mohawk is what a lot of people call under that. Some people call it closed bridge, where the gap is in the middle, and closed tunnel under that. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, that's not actually too bad.
Yeah, that's not as bad as I thought.
I've heard some other people kind of call out some really specific stuff sometimes, but
I forgot about the platforms. So like if you're going like red lift up to red landing, then you know how there's those 4 plats on the top? The one that's opposite on red side is called red platform, and that's a really good power position for people. It has a lot of great angles.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's stilts. Those are next to Mohawk, and those are really great power positions too, because you can go pretty much anywhere from those to anywhere on the map.
You mean the 2 things on the side that you can walk up from the bottom?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Just checking there for a second.
Yeah.
That kind of
Can you think of anything else?
Not really. Are there specific callouts for the little jump up areas on which side someone's on?
The little jump up areas? You mean from bottom mid?
No. So like you have the 2 platforms on bottom streets where people can jump up or hide behind.
Oh no, I've never heard a call out for any of those.
Okay.
We'll just say like bottom red street or red tunnel.
Because there's 2 of those on each side, so I didn't know if each one had a specific name.
I think some people call them like B1, B2, B3, B4, with B1 starting at blue side and then going all the way to B4 at the red ramp, but that's a weird call out. I've never heard anyone use it in matchmaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you heard anything.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's surprising to me. Like, I've never followed the evolution of callouts at the start of a Halo game before, like I have with Halo 4. But it just does not seem to be coming together. I don't know about you. Like, people still have so many different callouts and so many different names, and no one's agreeing on anything for any of the maps. So it's hard to have good callouts when you can't even, be sure what the major parts of a map are called, let alone the minor parts.
I'm actually pulling out the card that they gave out at Dallas, the Prima cards.
Nice.
Taking a quick look here at the callouts that they have. And actually, the B1, B2, B3, B4 is what's on the card, believe it or not.
Well, there you go.
That's probably where they got it from.
Yeah.
Actually, looking at it now, I haven't actually looked at this before, but the callouts we just went through are the exact callouts that are on here.
I'm good like that.
So open ramp is ditch, red wing, blue wing, bottom mid, blue tunnel. So if you're from the open side, the left-hand side is blue. So blue tunnel, blue bridge, blue ramp, blue street, and then same thing for the red side. Closed ramp, closed tunnel, closed bridge, B1, 2, 3, 4, and blue landing, red landing. So those are all MLG specific callouts, believe it or not.
Yeah, boy. I just wish that the map actually had blue and red sides. That would make the callouts so much easier and agreed upon. But oh well.
So I was watching the Game Battles tournament last weekend, as of this recording, and they actually put the little colored orbs in the ceiling.
Yep. Well, MLG does it, but it's not in like default matchmaking. Is what I meant. Yeah.
Right.
Like you can use these callouts whether you're playing with casuals or not. It just helps to know where your enemy is, so that if you're like one shot blue tunnel, people know exactly where to look, as opposed to like he's weak over in like that bottom area by like the thing, this where it's broken. Oh god, he's full shields again,
Yeah, by the time you're done explaining where it is, it's like, well, that's too late.
Exactly. And people who just stop caring. It's like, cool story, bro.
Let's talk about jump ups. So there's quite a few. There's the ones that go from bottom close to up close on the little stilts.
Yeah, and then there's right next to those, if you go a little more towards bottom mid, where you can jump up through that crack by closed tunnel. Do you know those two?
Which crack?
So you know how you have like the stilts and you can just run right up it? If you walk forward towards middle just a little bit more, there's 2 gaps on the sides of the wall with an incline that moves up. And if you crouch jump into them and walk up, and then crouch jump up, you can land back on top middle just from those 2 little things.
Oh, wow. I just did it too. Wow.
Are you playing right now?
I'm in Forge.
Nice. Okay, well, I guess my instructions worked out.
Yeah, they worked out really well.
Nice.
And we'll try doing this in the video part 2.
Cool.
There's that jump. There's a lot more jetpack jumps than there are actual like crouch jumps.
Oh god, you could not even start to cover all the jetpack jumps.
And I'm sure I don't know them all either.
Yeah, I was watching one of the 2v2s at Dallas. I think it was Elamite was filling in for one of the Ogre twins versus another pair of Pro twins or something like that. And I think it was Lunchbox and Roy. And Lunchbox was just doing some ridiculous things with the jetpack that I've like still not seen in a game before. Just you give these pros the options and they will take advantage. It's amazing what they can do.
So the 2 big ones that I saw used at Dallas were the where you have the 2 on the ramp side before you go to the middle. As you're going to the middle, the 2 towers that stick out to the side with the incline on the side. A lot of people jump to those, and you can actually jump to the open ramp. So I've seen that used quite a bit.
Yes, definitely.
A lot of the other jetpack jumps, you can jetpack jump from just about anywhere in the middle to one of the outer sides. You can jump through the little holes in the ceilings, or you can jump over the man cannon part and kind of ambush someone that's running along a street. I've done that quite a few times.
Definitely. And I think in MLG they put jump ups because they don't have jetpacks in their game type, so you can just go from bottom drop to top drop jumping on these 2 little plats.
Yeah, they have like a little stairway up there.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's in the MLG V1 or just the 2v2 tournament that I saw recently, but they also had a platform extending from red and blue wing all the way around open ramp to bottom of the blue and red tunnels.
Yeah, I heard a friend telling me about that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I didn't really see people use it, but it was there.
Like, cause you have to jump over the guardrail there, right? In order to use it.
I think so.
So I would imagine that's probably why. There's another little hidey hole which I haven't seen too many people use, but I've seen some use. But on the open ramp side, on the bottom, there's a little strut that sticks out, and you can actually run crouch jump up there and kind of hide. Yeah,
that's super useful for staying alive. Most people don't know about that spot.
So I've only actually recently discovered that. But there's also lots of little other hidey holes. You could there are so many different jetpack jumps on this map that it take a long time to explain them all. I think it'd just be better to try to show them off in the video part.
Sure.
But is there anything else in particular that you want to address? Because I think we covered most of the stuff for this map so far.
Haven, it's an awesome map. If you haven't played it, you should play it. That's all I gotta say.
It's a lot of fun. So I want to thank Nak3d Eli for coming on and talking to us about Haven. I think we got a pretty good overview in audio form as much as we can to the best of our abilities. So we will look into doing a video follow-up to this, so you'll probably see that come out probably within a week of this airing on our website. So thank again, Eli, for coming out.
Thanks for having me, bro. It was a lot of fun.
And we'll see you guys on our next map, whatever it is. Not sure yet.